In this video I will make a jig to cut wooden circles on my jigsaw table. Some time ago I made this sled to meter cut on my jigsaw table, but it didn't work very well. When I made this jig, to make the sled I screwed two strips under the marquetry sheet. The strips fit perfectly against the sides of the jigsaw tabletop. To use this sled, I just have to unscrew the plywood triangle. Then the perpendicular distance from the slot gives the radius of the circle I will cut, but I need a thicker and wider base to hold the workpiece, because I may need to have a pivot point beyond the edge of the sled. I will use this piece of board, and I want to put it to the right, so I can cut big circles. I want to align the back with the back of the sled, and I want to align this side with the edge of the jigsaw tabletop. I won't move it more to the right, because I might need to clamp it when I use the jig. So I align the inside face of the strip with the edge of the board. And I also align this edge of the marquetry sheet with this edge of the board. And I screw the marquetry sheet to the board, making sure I don't put any screw in the place where I will have the pivot points. And I also make sure the screw's head doesn't protrude the sheet surface. Now I will cut the slot in the board. Now, from the slot, I draw 3 perpendicular lines. And with the measuring ruler right in the edge of the slot, I mark on the lines all the distance I want. I think I won't cut any circle smaller than 3 cm in diameter, so I will begin in 3 cm and I mark on this line odd whole numbers. And on this line I mark even numbers. If I need any other measurement, I will mark it on the third line when I need it. Maybe then I will have to draw that line again. I use a punch to make a small hole in each mark. Now I have this screw. It is some longer than the thick of the board plus the thick of the marquetry sheet. I will file the threads in the part that will protrude the board. And it happened to be harder than expected, but with patience I filed it until half of the screw is smooth. It would be easier to use the grinder, but I don't like to make sparks in my shop. Now I will use this bit. It has the same diameter as the shank of the screw. I will use it to drill guide holes in the punch marks. The guide holes must be vertical, so it would be better to use the drill press. Now I sand the splinters in the other side, and I realize that I drilled some holes on this strip, so I will need a longer screw there, or maybe I can use a nail. So this will be the pivot pin. I choose the hole I need to cut the circle that I want, and I insert there the screw. Now I put the sled on the jigsaw, and I move it until the line with the screw is half a millimeter behind the tips of the blade teeth. And I put one clamp against the sled, like a stop block. Like that, the clamp will stop the circle cutting jig right where I need it, with the pencil line right in the tips of the blade teeth. I drill the center of the circle I want to cut off my workpiece. I insert the tip of the screw in that hole. I put the circle cutting jig on the saw, and I make a straight cut until the clamp stops the sled. Now I just have to turn the workpiece until I cut all the circle. I cut it faster than when I cut freehand. The end of the cut is not perfect, but I can fix it with the disc sander. And there it is, an almost perfect circle. Because if I measure the diameter and then I measure again at 90 degrees, there is a difference of nearly 1 mm in this 18 cm in diameter circle. One problem is that if I let the screw inserted in the jig, if I accidentally pass my hand over it, I can cut my hand. Instead of one screw, I could use one nail. I insert it in the hole in my workpiece, and then I insert it in the corresponding hole in the circle cutting jig. If I use the same guide hole to cut several identical circles, the nail could come loose, so I would need to drill a new guide hole. I think I will use the screw, but I will use some protection. Thanks for watching. You can find all my woodworking videos in my channel in YouTube. And if you like my videos, thanks for subscribing to my channel.